Welcome back, everyone, and I'm here again with Jeff Grant, SBR contributor, and today we're going to be looking at that college football game between Colorado State Rams and the Boise State Broncos. How you doing this morning, Jeff?
Doing great, Dax. Looking forward to discussing this Mountain West Conference opener for both of these teams. I think we're going to find an instance, Dax, where an overreaction from week 1 to week 2 is going to serve in our advantage in looking at this matchup.
All right, well, now, especially since you mentioned it, we all saw last week how Colorado State picked up that impressive win against in-state rival Colorado. And now they hit the road for their game against Boise State Broncos. So what can we expect to see from the Rams in this matchup, Jeff?
The Rams are really playing good football. Basically, the last 8 games dating back to last season, they've done really well, and a lot of that's due to the fact that Jim McElwain, their head coach, is in his 3rd year after coming over being the offensive coordinator at Alabama. And I'm expecting the Rams to continue their strong play the rest of 2014, but they're facing an opponent on Saturday that has been basically one of the better football teams percentage-wise, winning percentage-wise, in the Boise State Broncos, and the Rams may have their record evened out after this game.
All right, now going back to last week again, let's take a look at Boise State. They pretty much suffered a demoralizing 35-13 loss to Ole Miss in their season opener at the Georgia Dome. Now, Jeff, do you think that they might fare better in this game and maybe even up their win-loss record at Bronco Stadium?
Absolutely. I think the Broncos are in a great bounce-back situation here. When you look inside the numbers from their previous game against the Rebels, that was a tough spot, playing a neutral site game and against an SEC opponent. We gave out the Rebels as a play versus a spread against the Broncos in that contest. But now they return home, and they've won a lot of home openers in dominating fashion. I believe the last 14 by an average of 35 points. And I think they were unable to overcome 4 interceptions by their quarterback in the opener. I think he's going to clean up his play because he had great success taking on the Rams a season ago.
Now, Jeff, if I properly recall last year's match between these two teams, the Broncos picked up a nice 42-30 win despite giving up 626 yards in the game. So do you think that the Rams might hold some value as double-digit underdogs in this scenario?
Initially, I was looking to potentially play the Rams because of that box score, Dax, and also with the Rams out gaining the Colorado Buffaloes last week. Just to put that 626 yards in perspective that the Rams picked up against the Broncos last year. They were coming off back-to-back road games before that home game against the Broncos, with the game before that being in Hawaii. So how difficult is it to have that type of performance? It's very difficult. Often you want to fade a team that's coming back from the Hawaiian Islands the following week. Also, when you look at that 626 yards, 109 plays were ran to achieve that figure. With that being said, Boise State just wasn't very good last year defensively. They had a lot of young players. I think that group has gotten better. You look at the 35 points they allowed last week, a lot of that was due to the field position that Ole Miss had, due to the turnovers that Boise State had. So I'm expecting a much better performance from the Broncos defensively, which I don't believe the Rams are going to be able to cover the spread.
All right, so taking that factor into account, what are you going to recommend for this game then?
I'm going to recommend an angle that I talked about in the beginning of the week with some of these videos, the overreaction from week 1 to week 2. Let's look at the line history of this matchup, Dax, and the fact that the Broncos opened up as 8-point home favorites against the Rams. They haven't been that type of home favorite, that small of a home favorite, in quite some time. That number was bet up to as high as 11 this week, and now it's consistently fallen back to the level of 10 because the Rams are receiving over 70% of the spread bets and over 90% of the money line action. You don't normally see that much action going against Boise State when it plays at home. Yes, Chris Peterson is no longer the head coach, but Brian Harsin has experience with this program. He's a former player, and like I said, I think this is an overreaction, and I think our viewers should wait for this line to potentially fall to 9.5 and pounce on it, because that's what I'm going to do. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to recommend Boise State laying 10 against Colorado State.
All right, you all heard it here. You all heard it here first. Make sure you go ahead and lock that one in. Jeff, thank you once again for all your valuable insights, and we'll talk again next Monday.
Thank you.
And for SportsbookReview.com, this is Dax Floyd.
The SBR network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.